Hi, everybody. So I want to finalize our first project with one demo video for the final phase of this project. And let me share my screen. Okay, so we're here at the final stage of this project, which would mean that you've gotten to the point where you've fabricated a low poly a drawing. And now you need to make some decisions about the actual framing of your artwork. So what I want to do is, first of all, if you'll notice here that if I turn this off, you'll notice there's the original, right? So the original is on a different layer. And the first thing I want to do is I want to actually throw that away because I don't need the photo anymore. And you don't need the photo to show me when you submit your project. So it's really easier to just throw it out. And the best way to do that would be to select that layer that has the photo on it, and then you can just click on the little icon of a trash can at the very bottom of the layers panel, and it will delete it. This way you're making your file smaller as well. So it's going to be a lot easier to submit it. Now here's where we need to kind of think about the artwork that we have here at hand. And this is a wonderful drawing of a monstera leaf by a student in our class. And I'd like you to start to think about positioning of your artwork within the frame of the artboard that you're working on. So you could certainly center your artwork. Let me show you a couple of options that I just pulled up when I went online, because this is where you're finalizing that project and you have to make a decision about how you want to present it. So I came up with 3 different options here. Perhaps you would like to position the leaf in a natural way instead of upright, maybe at a diagonal, which gives it more of a dynamic look. And in that way, you would only need to take all of these poly shapes together and then just rotate the artwork that you have. I'll show you that in a second. Or perhaps you would like to do something like this, where you actually have multiple monstera leaves or whatever it is that you created. And in that way, you can copy and paste and then move things around as well. This last example I found was a little bit more challenging. In this instance, the artist had to also create a vase to put them in and position them that way. So those are just things for you guys to think about when you get to that point where you do it. If you wanted to move, I like to use the black arrow tool, and I marquee across every element so that I select it all together, and then I kind of can position it. If I would like to position it like this, I can do that. And being that I'm not super familiar with Designer, let me kind of poke around here. So if I wanted to duplicate, I could duplicate, right? So I've duplicated. Maybe that was sort of the intention, to make smaller duplicates and move them around. Remember also that you can use the group tool, which makes it a little easier to move a bunch of elements around. See, these are all individually, they're not connected to each other, so that can get kind of messy. So it's a lot easier to grab all of your elements and choose group if you don't want to get into trouble. What happened to my other? Did I delete it? Oh, there it is. It went off the screen and disappeared. So that's kind of how you might position it if you were having multiple ones. And oftentimes what designers will do is they will make some changes to individual shapes and maybe even like flip it around, which can be done. If I could find that for you, you can just literally flip the layer arrangement, alignment, transform, flip horizontal. So you can flip it. It kind of is a way to fool the eye of the viewer. They might recognize that these are both exactly the same, just like a wallpaper pattern would be, but they may not as well. And if you make a few extra changes to it, or you choose to maybe change it non-proportionally, you know, you could definitely get away with the same object repeated. And once you've made that choice on how you want to present, another thing that you might want to do is put a background into this. So you can come over here to the rectangle tool and you can put a nice background. Keep in mind that it's going to go in front. And so you're going to need to come back over here to layer alignment. Oh, no, that's not right. Arrange, I'm sorry. Arrange, move to back. Right. And then perhaps you change the color as well. Right. So different options that you have. Just make sure when you look at it, if you see a little bit of a gap because it hasn't gone all the way to the edge, that you fix that, because that's going to become apparent when you submit it. So let's take a look at submitting. Upon completion, use the Save As tab to create a PDF file. So let's see if we can do that together here. Let's just hit Save and then Save As. Okay, and is it going to let me? No, so I got the wrong instructions there. I think it's probably more export. There we go. So export and export to a PDF. There we go. Whole document. Since this will be viewed online, I guess 300 is fine. Preview export when completed. Let's see if that worked. There we go. So saving it as a PDF makes it much easier for me to view it without having to open up Designer. It's easier for you because it's a smaller file, so you won't have to upload such a large file. So, and that's it. So should be pretty simple. If you have any questions or you want me to take a look at this before you submit it, I'm happy to do that and give you some feedback. Otherwise, use student view, add attachments, I suppose, submission. You guys probably are more familiar with La Lima than I am, but that's basically where you're going to submit the artwork so that I can evaluate it. All right, that's it.